Hello, and welcome to another replay analysis with Jackson. Just kidding, it's Muffin Maestro. Yeah, Muffin! It's a Protoss versus Zerg of the Diamond category. And in these games, if you guys have never seen a replay analysis before, what we like to do here is we like to shit all over the guy I'm critiquing here, make him feel real bad about himself, and let everyone else laugh at him. Just kidding, I don't do that. What we do is I help the person here, which today our subject is Muffin Maestro. We help him better understand what he's doing wrong, what he can do better, things he's doing that already are pretty good, maybe he should keep doing. Just basically help him improve his gameplay, more or less. That's the idea. It's like a quick coaching lesson. So far, fucking awful. No, you're fine. But for real though, there is a mistake you just made. This drone is way too late. You need to send out a drone at about like 190 minerals. Because right now, if you watch the minerals, you're gonna have more than 300 when you get here. The only way you might not have that is if you have 3 drones stacked on one patch, which you actually kind of do. I would recommend in the early game, if you're not doing anything, try your best to get all your close patches saturated with 2 drones each. Like this one only has 1. This one only has 1. If you did saturate your close patches, it does make a little bit of a difference. It's a little more efficient than a far patch. And sometimes, you know, you can get shit like this where you have 3 drones. This drone is literally mining this patch as well, and you get 3 on a far patch. It's really shitty. It's really inefficient. So yeah, I would just say early on, try to saturate close patches. Just always, if you're literally doing nothing, try your best, but just make sure you spin your larva. Don't just fixate on this. It doesn't take very long to do this if you get good at it. And then 190, send your drone to your natural. The reason why is because if a Protoss builds a pylon and then runs across the map with that probe, every second counts, and you might let yourself get blocked if you build an expansion like literally 2 seconds later than you should be. Like this. 100%, I'm not even lying. 100%, if you would have saturated the close patches this game, and you would have set your drone at 190, you would have had this base. I'm not even kidding. Like, it would have happened. You would have been able to build it probably 2 seconds sooner, and you would not have been blocked. But I liked, because it happened, I like that you took another base anyways. I like it. We've talked about this before in a previous one you've done. Pools, in my opinion, this pool is... fuck it, who cares? It's fine. This is really safe against Cannon Rush, but it's a little too early in general for anything else. But I'm not going to disagree with you. Or I'm not going to disagree with what you did. Cannon Rushes are probably really, really, really annoying for you to deal with, especially in Diamond level, so I don't disagree with this. I don't disagree. This my greed being like maybe a little too early, but yeah. You're fine. Just make sure you spend your larva. Alright, so here's the thing. I don't know if we've talked about this specifically, but this is the thing. If you go for a pool this early off of a 17, 17, 19, that's fucking early, okay? That's really early. That means you're going to have access to make queens really, really, really quick. And if you make queens as quick as you can, you're going to have a lot of larvae sitting at your hatcheries, which is really inefficient. So my recommendation to you would be don't actually save your money for the queens and instead drone all the way to like 22 supply. Don't even make queens right away. Make queens when your natural is done and then gives you more supply to work with. And this is also before you make an overlord because your natural will give you more supply to work with. Then when this is done, then you make like 2 queens. If you make a queen before you make an overlord and you also don't spend your larva, that's bad. It's inefficient. You're still not spending your larva. This is... okay, there we go. But you made it... notice how you made a queen right away, though? I don't like it. Like, obviously, you can't even make it now anyways. But if you didn't... like, I feel like if you would have made this queen before you made all 3 of your eggs, you would have larvae sitting here anyways. The idea, if you're going to go for a really early pool like this, is you want to spend your larva. I've said many times before in many different replay analysis and coaching lessons and stuff, Your number one most important resource is your larva. And judging by how you just made this queen really fast like this, I imagine you're going to make another one immediately on your natural when it's done. And your larva count, I would not be surprised if your larva count goes back up to like 3 or 4. Yeah, you made a queen immediately again. But again, well, by the time your natural's done, you can make a queen. I guess I shouldn't really harp on you about the natural one. You should be making your queen anyways because you'll have enough money to build them then. This first one's just a little too early. In general, like you can totally spend your larva a little more efficiently. You also larva capped for a bit. So like you have less larva to work with, which means you have more money. It's going to be misleading because you didn't spend your money fast enough, so your larva capped out, and now you don't have something you're spending your money on, so it looks like you have more than you should at that point. If that makes sense. Larva, 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 larva. And now you double queened again. I like it. I don't know. I'm just really harping on your fucking 17 pool. I feel like your build is just looking at it. I feel like you're already behind what you could be. It's okay though. It's not the worst. I would say if we're going to talk about like 100% efficiency for what you could be if you did it if everything was just fucking flawless, I would say your build right now is about 80% efficiency of what it could be, or like maybe 75. It's not the worst. It's not perfect, but it's not the worst. Well, you get my point though. If you're going to make a pool this early, make sure you really spend your larva first immediately. And don't larva cap. Don't like save for a queen. Spend your larva and then make queens. The only reason why... I really want to just explain this one more time and then we'll move on. The only reason why you would do something like go for a 17 hatch and then a 17 pool and then a 19 hatch instead of like a 17 or a, sorry. I said those numbers wrong. You went for a 16 hatch, then you went for 1 drone and a pool, which means you went for a 16 pool, and then you went for a 19 hatch. The only reason why you would take a pool that early is because you're very paranoid about a proxy, like a cannon rush or something like that, because it gives you quick access to a roach warren, and it also gives you quick access to queens and spines if it's like a proxy 4-gate. If you are, however, not being all in and you go for a pool this early, because sometimes you won't know you're getting all in before you make the pool because you haven't seen it yet. But if you are not being all in, don't fucking make queens that fast then. Spend your larva because you are fucking your own build up really bad if you take a pool that fast and then use the pool tech to make queens that quick, because you're 100% going to larva cap. It is, but however, if you go for like, let's say a 16 hatch and then an 18 pool and then a 19 hatch, it is a little bit more vulnerable to proxy all-ins because you're a little bit more delayed on like the queen, spine, roach department. And all those categories. Like everything's a little bit delayed to deal with a proxy all-in. So it makes it harder. But your economy flows really well with that because you have a later pool, which means you're going to have later queens, which means you're able to spend your larva. It makes more sense logically. Like the pool times out in a way where you're spending all your larva already, so you make the queens as soon as you can when that pool finishes. Does that make sense? This pool is so early, but making your queens so early with it is a bit of a mistake. You want to spend your larva first, and then you still want to make the queens early, but you want to spend your larva first. Larva, 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 larva. Way more important, because when you have larva sitting there forever, it just fucks you up really bad. It puts everything out of pace. Alright, so with what we've scouted, let's go talk about this now. What do we see? You saw it, but I don't know if you physically saw it. Oh, you did see it. Okay, 100% you saw it. So it's a Twilight Council. Just throwing this out there. If your opponent goes for a Twilight Council, you want to throw down gas immediately. You do not want to delay your gas. Because if you're going for this kind of a build that I like to do, here's the timings that happen. If your opponent goes for Gate Nexus Core, and he immediately makes a council, if you make gases at 2:50, okay, 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock, and you immediately make a layer when you have 100 gas, you can get a Overseer and Roaches out within seconds before DTs get to your base if this guy times out a build that's like high level. We're talking about if this guy were to do a very efficient Dark Templar Warp Prism pressure, he could get to your base at the exact same time you would have an Overseer and Roaches popping out of your hatcheries if you took your gases at 250. But this guy did not build his Cybernetics Core at 250. This is already delayed for him. This Cybernetics Core, or this Twilight Council could have been thrown down a little bit earlier, but he has done something in his build that has made that not happen. So it's a little bit delayed. So right now, if I was you and I saw a Twilight Council just start, I would say, okay, it's totally fine if we take our gas at 3 minutes, and I will still be fine. Really crazy Protosses can take their Twilight Council at like 235, 240 if they're going for a very fast DT pressure. This is very delayed. I feel like it's really just kind of a sign of neglect for him, because there's no reason why it should be so delayed. There's no sentry, there's no other tech, there's no third base. Like it's just a 2-base build, but he just delayed it. It's whatever. But it's still, as a reaction to this, since you saw it, immediately take your gases. You have to take your gases immediately if you're doing this build. If you delay your gases, you're fucking yourself real bad. There's no reason to delay. You've already delayed for 20 seconds and counting. Way too late. Way too late. The immediate reaction to seeing a Twilight Council should have been immediate gas. Already, now, if this is how I see this game going. If this guy does not delay, if he goes Dark Shrine and he does not delay it, what's going to happen is if you're going to rely on the Overseer to defend this, he is going to have DTs in your base really, 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 really fast. And you are going to take some serious fucking damage. You might even lose an entire hatchery. I'll answer this question really fast. I normally don't like to read chat when I'm doing these. But the question is, why can't I just build Spore Crawlers? Spore Crawlers give you detection. Okay? It will be something there that will be able to see a DT. But Spore Crawlers are not mobile. And you need to spend a lot of fucking money to build spores, because not only do you have to build spores at every base, you have to also sacrifice a drone at every base to be able to build spores at every base. So that's 3 drones and 3 spores, which in total is a cost of 375 minerals to build 3 spores. That's fucking expensive. And not to mention, you no longer have those 3 drones mining minerals for you from then on. So not only are you spending 375 minerals to build 3 spores, because each spore is 125 if you include the cost of a drone, but you're also losing the mining of a drone after. So your income goes down a little bit. Because you're not going to be fully saturated right now if you build 3 spores. We're fucking far from it. Also, the other thing too is when you lose 3 drones like that, if you're like, I'm going to replace 3 drones now into 3 spores, it doesn't really. It kind of sucks for you as well, because now you're having to spend 3 of your larvae back into drones again to replace that. Otherwise, you're just keeping a negative in your economy, when those could have been 3 roaches if you're going to get all in, and 3 roaches are insanely more important against an all in, but you don't know if he's doing that yet. And the other reason is because if you just time out the gas properly, an Overseer just works well with this. Like you'll have it timed properly, and an Overseer can follow the prism. It's mobile detection, so you can go where the prism goes, and you can always zone out DTs, which also allows you to do things like spread your creep without fucking a queen dying or something, or your all your creep timbers dying, to like an observer following it up. Because a lot of Protosses who do this kind of thing, they have a prism come out and they make an observer right after it, and the observer literally follows the prism, and they kill your creep if they can't kill your drones. Overseer is just 1,000 times better in every way. The only time you should ever really make spores is if your idea was to go for like a speedling opener. This is not a speedling opener build. This is a gasless build, which transitions into a fast layer once you have like a solid economy going, which is what we're doing here. But yeah, your timing of your gases, you would die to a DT pressure. Thank God for you, he's not doing that. He's going for a charge lot all in. So you're not gonna. It's a little different, but yeah. Just keep in mind if you see a Twilight Council, your gas. It's the same as a Robo. If you see a Robo or a Twilight Council, at the very latest 3-minute gases. But if you see an early Twilight Council before 3 minutes, like 250 gases for against a council. This guy threw a council down at 305. If you would have matched it at like 305, you take gas as well. You would have been fine because he delayed his council. This game is going to be really hard for you to defend properly now, though, because your gas is so delayed. All right, I'm going to read this one more question, but I'm not going to keep doing tangents here, guys. These questions are... I only am going to answer this because I feel like some people might have this question as well. Someone asks in chat, can't I just build... or sorry, I thought you said, can I build spines? Yeah, I already answered. You said spores. Forget what I said. I thought he said, can I build spines? Well, anyone out there who's thinking, can I build spines? Fuck no. It's terrible. There's no way you'd ever defend your base properly, and you would lose way too much economy to be able to build spines everywhere to actually be able to build enough to defend a base. You'd need about like 6 fucking spines to defend each base. Somewhat. Which is, that'd be like a good 18 drones down the drain just to build spine growlers. It's fucking awful. You did build spores. I don't like it. I like it that you, because your gas was delayed, I think you should have been afraid of that. But I don't like that you just delayed your gas to do that. Does that make, like, gas is more important, gas timing is more important than delaying it and building spores. This is less efficient. Anyways, talking about something you've done well though, your creep is great. I like your creep. You have solid spread over the outside of your base. This is really, really, really good. I like it a lot. It gives you a lot of vision as to what he's going to be doing, where he's coming from. But this is something else that kind of goes into a problem that's going to happen for you for your gas. We're going back to your gas now. Sorry, I said that kind of weird. Creep is great. Your gas is a problem again, and this is more reason why. You're not dealing with DTs. You're dealing with someone going for a charge lot timing with a little bit of Sentry Immortal, Prism, Pressure, crap, whatever. But because your gas is delayed, your roach speed is also delayed now. Your layer is delayed, your roach speed is delayed, all this shit's delayed. And you're dealing with a guy who's going for a really heavy pressure early. So if your roach speed, your gas was delayed about 20 seconds longer than it could have been, which would mean that, let's just say hypothetically, your roach speed could be 20 seconds faster than it is. Before I do this, I want to see if you delayed your roach speed as well on top of that. See when you start roach speed the second your layer is done. How much delayed is it? This is important shit right here. So your layer is done at 5:30. How long until your roach speed starts? 5:39. So we're 29 seconds delayed. This upgrade should be starting the second your layer is done. Every game. Every single game. This upgrade is what shuts down Zealot all-ins. It shuts down Stalker all-ins. It shuts down Adept all-ins. Any gateway all-in with a council, if it's an upgrade, it shuts them down. The hardest one to shut down would be a Blink Stalker all-in. But against that, you could just upgrade like Zergling speed as well and start going for Lings and get like maybe a macro hatch or some shit. But in general, if you're fucking Diamond League, if you just macro well, you'll shut it down with roaches. So roach speed is super huge here to deal with anything like that. And then roach speed also shuts down Prism all-ins, like Prism pressure builds, because you can chase the Prism a lot easier, and you can always, if a guy flies over a cliff and you're down here and you need to go here, suddenly you can run really fucking fast and get back up to the top of the base and up the ramp really quickly and deal with it. It's just really helpful. But 29 seconds, okay, is our delayed upgrade here. So we'll let it play out a little bit here. We'll go a little bit faster. He's doing a bit of a pressure now. So at 50 seconds in this upgrade, it would be done. Had it not been as delayed as, you know, from what I recommended this game so far. We'll let it play. Against this, you should not engage directly. You should, like, this is already fucking crazy. You've already engaged longer than I would say is ideal. When you fight against shit like this, you can move into them and look like you're gonna engage and take like a pot shot. Like just take one volley, not with everything, but just like maybe poke a little bit and immediately back up. Because what could happen here, especially since you're in a choke point, what could happen here, because you're kind of standing there concaving for a while, if he just went force field, force field, force field, well, suddenly half your units can't even really help anymore, and half your units are down here now. And then if he, how many force fields does he actually have? He's about to have 2, 4, 5. Guaranteed he could have 5, because that's the 3 energy off. That 3 energy will generate during this fight, guaranteed. He could go 3 force fields on the ramp and cut your units off, and then he could do 2 force fields like right here, and make your army get kind of like, or like one like right here and one right here, and your army suddenly is kind of stuck, and you lose like 6 or 7 roaches, or so, before the fight even really starts. And if this guy then decides, you know what, I'm just gonna flood mass gates in your face and just attack all in all the time. That's a great way to lose the game, and this kind of a situation, if you just like literally lose half your units for no reason. So you got to be very careful about force fields. You have to predict that they're going to do it before they do it. Like if this is your counter micro against force fields, this is wrong. Okay, I'm going to wait till he does it, and then I'm going to run away. If that's your plan, that's wrong. You need to preemptively run away before he does it, but you need to be able to gauge the time at which. You don't run away. Like, if your roaches are here and he's over here, obviously, if you run away, he's not going to fucking cast the force field. But if you would have ran away, right? I'll show you when you should be running away, okay? I'll tell you when. Maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to say here. For anybody listening. Too early. It's too early. Early. Right now, you run away. The sentries have, like, closed up the distance here. They're close enough, okay, to cast a force field. The second they're close enough to cast a force field, no Protoss in the fucking world, other than maybe like the world's best, can be like immediate full line, just like a full wall, okay? It's not going to happen realistically, especially in fucking Diamond League. It takes a Protoss about 1 or 2 seconds to be like, force field, force field, force field, force field, force field. And then now they're all there. No Protoss is going to time it to where it's like, just literally all of force fields appear out of fucking thin air, and they're all perfectly lined up blocking you. That's really hard to do. So if you move away, the second he's in range to force field you, and you're moving away as he starts casting them, there's a good chance the majority of your units get away, and he burns force fields. Notice how you're staying here really long, though? He's really holding those force fields. There was no reason for him to hold force fields like that. But okay. Moving on. Kiting him. So from this point on, kiting is obviously going to be the best way you can go about this. But let's go back to the roach one here and look. It's 53. Your roach speed would have finished 3 seconds ago had you done your gas a little bit more according to how his build is going. And as soon as you have roach speed, suddenly you can do things like jump on the immortal really fast. And something like that can just literally end the game. If you, like this guy, look at his fucking army and look at his prism. He is so far away, there is 0 chance for him to evacuate these units. There's not going to be any warp prism micro shuffling going on. It's if you engage this army with your army, literally all that happens is he takes a fight. He has to then at that point. And the faster units are, the harder it is for him to mitigate you getting on top of him. So yeah, roach speed would be great here, but you're not going to have it for this fight. So this fight is probably going to look better for Protoss than it should, as long as he uses force fields. Like, just throwing this out there. With where we're at in this game, if this Protoss was really switched on here with what he's doing, all he has to do to fuck you over immensely at this point is this, okay? Transport mode. Fly the prism directly down there. These zealots, they run down here as well. They go down and around. He casts 2 force fields right here. Your third just dies. And he just periodically, he like keeps... Maybe he lets you commit a little bit, and he lets you run in like 3 of your roaches, and then he cuts you in half, or like he like only lets a couple through, and then he force fields it. If that's what this guy did, you would be so fucked, as the Zerg here. We'll see how it goes. He neglects the ramp entirely. This guy doesn't give a fuck about force fields. Guardian shields. Guardian Shield is not the unit. If you're a Protoss out there watching this, do not fucking ever use Guardian Shields against roaches. It is the biggest waste. And also, they don't stack either, so this is not like stacking buffs here. It's just repetitive buffs. They do the same fucking thing. If you have 5 Guardian Shields or 1, it still counts as 1. So any unit that's double dipping Guardian Shields, it still counts as 1. Force Fields are way better at mitigating the amount of damage you're going to take, because not only do you literally prevent units from shooting you altogether by zoning them, but you also kill him in little split up pieces, which makes your army start like it's like a bowling ball effect, or like a boulder effect. Like your army just starts rolling over him more and more, because your army you kill his faster than he kills yours because you're retaining more. Force Fields are the way to go here, for sure, for Protoss. But anyway, we're not coaching this guy, we're coaching the Zerg. Going from here now, in this situation, I would say you killed the Immortal, which is huge. That's amazing. That's super, super good. The best way to go about this now would be, and your money also, I'm gonna give you a pat on the back here. You're doing a pretty decent job of spending your money during the attack. This is very respectable macro. You're or hold on, let me actually, before I get ahead of myself, let me back it up really quick. Let's really see the real situation. Queens. Okay, yeah, not bad. Not bad on the queens. Larva, mediocre. You, at this point, when this fight actually started, let's just like put my mic in my mouth. Okay, let's look at this really quick. I'm actually going to go back to this point. I'm going to give you some ideas. You have fully... This is actually what you should be doing this whole time. I'm gonna put my mind into your gameplay, okay? I'm not gonna just tell you what you're doing wrong. I'm gonna tell you what you should do right here at this point now. You injected every hatchery up to this point. You are right now making drones. He has not moved out yet. This is really good. This is before the fight actually happens. But now the fight's happening. You have no... Hold on. Hold on. Actually, I take it back. We should go back to this point. This is when it all kind of started going to shit. Right now, you have 0 lings. Around like 420, 430, if you haven't made a ling yet, you really should make a ling. Because you have 0 tabs. You have 0 tabs on his third base. 0. It's so fucking important to make just 1 supply of Zergling to go sit at his third base. Because at 440, like 430 is roughly around the time when you're going to start seeing it. If your Protoss opponent has a third base that is already like started well before 430, you should just know that he's gone for maybe like 1 gateway into like maybe 1 Stargate, and he went triple Nexus. That's so fucking greedy. But if a Protoss opponent takes a base at 430, you should know that there's probably like maybe like 1 gate, 1 core, maybe 1 tech building, and he's actually producing off of them. He's constantly producing off of these buildings. So maybe he has like 3 stalkers or 3 adepts and like 2 oracles or 2 phoenix or some shit. You could do 1-1-1 like a gate core Stargate, and you could still produce off these buildings and take your third at like 430 as Protoss while still making probes. That is totally viable, totally realistic. If your Protoss opponent takes a base at his third at like 440, 445-ish, that is also very standard. That probably means he's doing something very similar to 430, and maybe he has like another gateway being thrown down in his base right now. Like it's macro as fuck though. It's super macro related, macro oriented. If he takes a third base around like 5 minutes, that is getting into the realm where the third is starting to become a little bit later. At 5 minutes, there's a very high chance this guy has 4 gates. 4 gates in his base. Okay? 4 gates. So that means that you can be... The perfect word to tell you here is you can definitely be harassed. You're not going to get all in, probably. But you can definitely be harassed if you're blind to the main. If the Protoss player has a third base at 510, that's 6 gate realm right there. That's more in the all-in category. There's nothing forcing a Protoss player to saturate a third base if he takes it that late Okay? There's nothing forcing a Protoss player to actually saturate the third base, even though he built one. He does not have to saturate it, and he might just fucking all in you. Like it's 5-10, and he takes a third. You need to be really cautious, is what I'm trying to tell you here. 5-20. If there is still no third at 5-20, you better stop fucking making drones, and you better start making nothing but roaches, because you are getting all in right now. That's what I want to look at what you're doing here, because you have no tabs on if he's going for a third or not. You also have no read on his front of his base. And if you would have just had one of these, like let's say you make 4 lings, okay? 4 lings. I told you to make 2 a second ago, at the very least. But let's just say you had 4 because you were worried about an adept attacking you earlier on or something like that. You wanted to be a little bit safer. Because just going blind drones and not making a Zergling ever is really risky against Protoss as well. But if you had 1 ling here, 1 ling here, and then 1 ling periodically poke in the front of his base. And let's just say right now, you're like, okay, we're at 5 minutes. This guy still doesn't have a third base. And you ran 1 ling right here. It just walked right here, and it died. And you went, what did I see as I died? This tells you, like, this is his build right here. He's going for a fat timing of Century Immortal. And if you just go Roach Ravager, you 100% win the game. But watch your production. Let's look at your production really quick. You're making roaches, thank God. So you've gambled this correctly. This game. Well, you're not looking. You're making drones now, though. You don't want to be making drones here at this point in time now. Like your drone phase is over, and now this is time to hold the all-in phase. And the reason why you're making drones again is because you have no read on what he's doing. You don't know. And also, if this Protoss is going for a third base, you would have wait like you're making drones again. You're out of order here. You have so many fucking roaches, and you have no idea if he's going for a third or not. Let's just say hypothetically this guy was going for a third. You would already be behind because you made a shitload of roaches when you wouldn't have needed them. Like you could cut this roach count in half. Know what I'm saying? You could have cut this roach count in half, and you would have been still just fine. And instead of 10 drones here, this could be like literally like 18 drones or like 17 drones. You know? But you would have them earlier. Like it could just be a lot more drones if this guy had a third base. But obviously he doesn't have a third base. He's going all in. So having roaches is nice, but you made them so early as well, and a lot of them, and now you're going back into drones, so you hiccuped your own economy really bad. All you need to do, because you're making units like this because you're literally like, I don't fucking know. He hasn't attacked me yet. He did make a council, but he hasn't attacked me. He'll probably attack me soon. But he didn't attack me. I don't even see him on my creep, so I think we're fine. Fuck it. Let's make drones again. It's probably how your mindset is, right? But your mindset makes no sense because obviously right now you're making mass drones again when he's doing a timing. So all you got to do to fix this, is just have a ling at his thirds. Just 1 ling each. Just 1. Your creep is great. I love your creep. And it's going to give you a lot of, a lot of advantages going forward. It'll give you a lot of room to work with. But if you just have 1 ling at his thirds, that tells you everything because you're like, well, okay, his third's actually delayed. If you have an understanding as to when his third's delayed, and I just told you guys what they are. 430, greedy. 445, standard macro. 450, like 445-ish is like standard macro. Around 5 minutes, that's standard pressure. And then anything beyond that is get ready for more and more and more and more gates. And this dude is fucking missing a third at 537. Let's look at his gate count, shall we? Fucking 8 gates. 8 gates. Let's look at what it was at 520. Remember when I said 520? At 520 is like that timer, the cutoff. Let's go back to 520. And let's see how many gates he has at 520. He's already got 7 gates and a Robo and Immortal production at 520. That's super fucking... That's a lot of... That's not... I'm just going to tell you right now, that's not macro. That is a Protoss who is just took some Viagra and he's coming for you, dude. He's fucking coming for you. He's not stopping. So, if you just made roaches from this point on, and you were like, roach, 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 you're going to be ready to block that dick. You get the point, though. Like, you need to know the timing of what is a standard and what is not for macro and what is, like, all in, basically. 520. 520 is your go-to. Anyways, going forward again. So you made a lot of drones again, blah, 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 blah. And you made drones again. You just made another 3 after the 10. So this is scary. What you should be doing right now, this is what you should be doing. The second you see him on your creep, I love that you go, let's charge. I love it. I like that you want to charge him on your creep, but I don't like that you want to stay there and concave him. Do not fucking concave his ass. Especially if you just made fucking 13 drones. That's not the time to concave. That's the time to like see if your opponent is lazy and pick him apart. And what I mean by lazy is, let me give an example of a lazy Protoss. This guy is on a move, and his charge lots go, let's fucking go, boys, and they just charge in. A charge lot is way faster than an immortal. It's way faster than a sentry. And if this guy does not micro his units defensively, even though he's all-inning you, and he just lets his charge lots chase your roaches, and you're like, thanks for the free zealots, one dead, one dead, one dead, one dead, one dead, as you just kite back across your creep. There's no downside to that. There's zero downside, because you're not at risk to be caught by sentries and could just get killed by immortals. And he's the one at risk of losing all of his front line before the fight actually starts. These zealots are not scary. The only reason why they're actually, like, you know, going to be annoying for you is because they buy time for the immortals to do something. It's the only reason. They buy the immortals time to actually be useful. But if the zealots die out of range of the immortal, well, they're not useful at all then. They're just fucking dying at that point. They're doing literally nothing. So kiting right now would be great. Just kite backwards. If he burns force fields, it's even better. Because every force field he burns, it should give you more confidence as long as you aren't losing your roaches to those force fields. And during this, when you're kiting, you should be tapping, like, you should be like this, okay? This literally should be your muscle memory of your fingers. All your hatcheries should be rallied. Somewhere, like, where they are is whatever. I don't give a shit. It's fine. Where your hatcheries are rallied, it's okay. But when you go, this should be how you micro this, okay? 1 is your roaches, 5 is your hatcheries. 1, A, move. 5. While the roaches are moving, 5, SR. Roaches have connected to the zealots. 1, move back. 5, SR. 1, A, move. Move. 5, SR. 1, A, move. Move. 5, SR. And if you're like, I don't fucking understand what you mean, ViBE. What you want to do is you want to attack with your roaches. And then you want to immediately move with your roaches. You don't want to fucking attack with your roaches and then stare at them and watch them concave, because that's what they're going to do. It only takes like half a second for a roach to shoot off an attack the second you say, A, move. If it's already next to a zealot, it'll shoot immediately. It'll literally shoot a shot immediately. And the second it shoots the shot, you should not be standing there against a bunch of melee units. You should be walking away from them. And when you're walking away, that's when you should be macroing while they're walking away, because there's no more commands to be issued for the roaches. And then, you know, once you've macroed, that'll also give you, not only, it's like a 2 stones with it's 2 birds with 1 stone kind of a thing. Not only while you're walking away do you macro, but you also allow your roaches to have a attack cooldown recharge, because every unit in this game has an attack cooldown, and a roach is 1.43 seconds. That attack cooldown recharges, and you do it again. Roaches attack, and then move, and then you macro. And what would happen is during this time when you're fighting him, you wouldn't have 17 larvae. 2 stones, 1 bird to extra kill that bird. You get what I mean, though? Like, there's so much more valuable shit you could be doing right now than just letting your roaches concave here. So you did it there. You literally just did it there. I'm so proud of you, dude. I just watched you do it. You don't do it enough, though. You're not doing it. 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 You just did it. Do that more. That's all you got to do. You like the mindset you're having in this fight is you're like this. I'm gonna fuck this guy up with my current army. Roaches, get in there. Let's concave. Let's micro that queen a few times. Maybe I'll transfuse something. Maybe I'll block some zealot. Maybe I'll get that queen in the distance closer to an immortal than a roach is, and I'll have that queen take the shots of an immortal. Maybe I'll watch this fight. The more I look at it, the more I'll know if I should back up or should stay. But realistically, that's super wrong thinking about it like that. All the micro in the world is not going to save you here, because that's not how Zerg works. What you should be doing is you should be thinking, well, if this guy's crazy enough to let some of his army just die for nothing, wonderful. Because that's just free trades that I'm getting, basically. He's poking my roaches a couple times, but losing zealots way faster than I'm losing roaches. But the real goal for me as a Zerg player is to overwhelm him massively by thinning him out as he comes into my base. And at that point in time, when he gets on like really close to like a hatchery, or it's just that point when I know I have a fucking swarm coming now. Swarm him. And then suddenly his army just dies. Everything dies. That's the goal. And you did it for 1 second there out of like 10 in that fight. Look at my camera, see what I'm doing. Sure. We'll look at your camera and see what you're doing. I guarantee you're staring at the fight. Up until that point when you macroed. But the thing is you don't keep in mind too before we look at this, you don't have to look at your hatcheries to macro. You can still move your screen like this. Roaches are here. A move back. And then your camera goes like this. 5 SR. Roaches, A move back. Camera goes like this. 5 SR. Roaches, A move back. 5 SR. Roaches, A move back. 5 SR. You can do it without looking at your hatcheries. I'm not telling you have to inject the second you have 25 energy every time. It's just... we'll watch your vision now. But it's just using your larva. Injecting before fights happen is always ideal. So right now, seeing this coming, it would be a great idea going, all right, we're about to have a fight. Let's do a quick inject when I can. Because it's not going to be a great idea to inject when I'm in the middle of fucking fighting. You know what I mean? So right now would be, this is time to inject. Perfectly engage this situation. This is when you inject. If do you have energy to do it? You don't. So it's okay. Don't worry about it then. You've already injected. You're fine. You don't need to inject at all then, because you just did it a minute ago, or like 20 seconds ago. And you don't have an injector ready to go again yet. But you're staring at the fight. You're microing it. You're trying to micro it. I'm telling you right now, all you're doing right now is wasting your time. This is still your camera, by the way. Okay. So somehow I got selected on a queen. I don't understand how that happened. What up, Johnny? I'm doing a replay analysis really fast. What up, dude? Yeah, so I have it on your actual, like, your selection now, too. But yeah, you're just trying to macro the fight. You're not macroing. Well, you do it once, and you do it while not looking at your hatcheries. So you already understand that concept. You just don't do it enough. Like, you just macroed again right there. That was the one and only time you macroed that fight. And you want to know why you macroed that fight? I can literally tell you your mindset. I'm going to fucking get in your head right now. This is how you're thinking, and I need you to not to think like this. I'm now Muffin. Alright. Got a, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm going to make a nervous here. Scout his base, rally that shit in there. Okay, we're going to make some drones. I don't know. He's not attacking me yet. I figure I fucking make drones. Why not? Oh, wait. There he is. Okay. Well, that army looks like a piece of shit. Let's get. I can fucking win that fight. Let's go. Yeah, things are going pretty good. You've got one immortal. What a shit army. Okay. Yeah, you're running. I got the advantage right now. I'm going to win. Okay, you're warping in some stuff. Maybe I can deny that prism. Nope. Never mind. Okay, well, you know what? You're starting to actually kind of kick the shit out of my army, and I'm getting kind of worried. Let's macro. Fucking 100%. I guarantee that's how you're thinking. You need to be thinking the whole time, I need to fucking macro. Don't ever be confident that your current army is going to win. That's how Zerg works. Zerg is all about repetition and swarming the shit out of your opponent over and over, not, I'm gonna fuck this guy up right now. You're not Protoss. Anyways, what you should be doing right now is just macroing, literally. Also, it wouldn't be a bad idea right now. It would not be a bad idea right now to pull your drones. And here's why. Pulling your drones against Archons, against Zealots, and against Adepts sucks absolute ass. When we're talking about like early pressures like this. Like we're not talking about a Disruptor or Colossus or fucking Storm or something like that. We're just talking about if there were Archons in this, or Zealots, or Adepts, which is all early game shit that Protoss can do with like early timings like this, because they don't have to research Storm, they don't have to tech all the way to a fucking Colossus. You can get like DT pressure into Archons pretty fast. You guys understand what I'm saying? Zealot, Adept, Archon, pulling your drones against that is a fucking awful idea. You'll lose the drones and it'll buy you literally no time. This army though is Sentry, Stalker, and one Immortal. Drones would be amazing here, because it's mostly Stalker, and his Stalkers it would take forever to kill your mineral line. And there's a very high chance that you would kill his army very cost efficiently if you pulled your drones here. Just in general. That was the wrong time to pull your drones. If you pulled your, like, once it gets to that, like, it shouldn't get to that point in general, but let's just say we're there, and it is at that point. If there's no Zealot, Adept, or Immortal, like, it's very thin or none at all, great idea to pull your drones in this kind of a situation. Super good. And then the best way to do it would be focus fire the Immortal if you can, and then immediately start getting on top of the Stalkers. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my vision now. So you're evacuating. It's not a bad call to evacuate because that base is pretty dead now. Actually, I don't know. It's questionable. It's one of those decisions that's really hard to make the right call, because you don't know if he's gonna have more units just come down here and kill it, because you have no control over this area now. But he's literally chasing your army, and if your opponent literally just chases your army, it's not the worst idea to keep mining your mineral line, because it allows you to make your queen, like, more queens if you can, roaches constantly, just produce more shit to try and hold this off. I'm gonna throw this out there really fast. This is a legit statement that I truly believe, and I want you to believe it too. There are 3 ways to deal with this situation. The first one is how you did, and we just went over how I think that's bad. How you just focus way too hard on trying to micro the fight. The second way to deal with it would be, that's a little bit, it's easy. It's not the best, but it's an easy way to do it, and it would still be better than what you did. Don't ever take the fight. You see him on the edge of creep. Don't ever take the fight. Just let him be over there. And just be like, okay, well, we're going to get attacked soon. Until it really gets to that point where I need to defend it, I'm just going to make roaches and inject my bases. And then suddenly the Protoss shows up near the front of your base, and you have like 20 roaches down here, 20 roaches over here, and like 10 roaches over here. And you have this big fucking sandwich that you then take the fight with. And literally when you take that fight, you A-move it. You don't even micro. And you just go like this. All right, let's go back to my hatcheries. Inject. 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 Every time I have a larva, roach, roach, roach. Every second a larva spawns, roach, roach, roach. Your money would be like less than 200 minerals if you did this the whole time. Every single time. It wouldn't have a situation where you have like these massive bulk fucking things happening. Like only when an eject popped off would be when that would happen. But you would have units constantly helping reinforce the fight. And you could just A-move it. It's not the best way to play, but it would still be better than what you did. Because you just never had enough. And then the last way to do it is how we kind of described it. When I would say the second you charge him in the edge of creep, you back up, attack, and you're macroing in those cycles when you're not attacking. That is the best way to do it because it gives you the most advantages and the least disadvantages. But you have to be able to handle doing that. If you struggle doing that, I would highly recommend just macroing and doing the other thing just for now. Even though it feels wrong, it's actually wrong to focus too much on the fight and not enough on your macro. But people don't really think about it like that. They start panicking like, units are attacking! I have to be there! You have to make shit to be there. If you look at it, you can't just stare at your screen and stalkers explode. You're not fucking Superman. You can't laser beam this shit. Okay? You don't just... It's not a sheep from Warcraft 2. You can't click it 50 times and it just explodes. You have to have shit to kill it. And if you don't have anything to fucking kill it, doesn't matter how much you look at it, it'll always be there. You are macroing better this fight, though, than you did the first fight. I will give you that. This was a good drone pull. You were going to win that fight either way, but it helped a little bit. And maintaining as many roaches as you can right now is very important because you are getting flooded. So I do not mind that drone pull just for a second there to mitigate the stalkers a little bit of their DPS, to have them shoot a couple of drones. But yeah, once again, if you just macro here, let's look at your units. Watch your larva. Literally stare at this larva. Let's see what happens. You need to micro this a little bit and back up right now. He's got very little DPS back behind the zealots. Kiting here would be great. But making units would be the best. So we'll see how you do it. Watch. Okay, let's pay attention to that. So you have larva still. It's still kind of accruing here. It's still grouping more and more. You're still not macroing. You don't macro enough. I know you just pulled your drones. You sent them back. You're like quickly fixing your mineral line and shit. I get that. I get it. But it just takes like 1 second to macro. 5 SR. Just hold the fucking button down. 5 SR. And you're good. But now the fight's starting again. And you're still not making your larva. Now, it's at 8:22. Let's look at how long it takes you to actually spin your larva during this next fight. You have 8. 8:30 is when you start doing it. So it took you 8, like it's 8 seconds of time, of idle time, where you didn't make your larva into roaches. And that's those 8 seconds matter a lot because that's just more and more roaches that could be spawning a lot faster because the roaches build time is only 19 seconds. You would already have roaches like almost halfway done right now as opposed to just getting started right now. And this next round of zealots would be a lot easier to defend had you made those roaches a little sooner. And this will repeatedly happen to you if you always fucking tunnel vision the fight too hard.
Successful.
Okay, so he's backing up. So you actually held. You actually held. Here's what would happen now. Here's what I would say needs to happen. You have enough roaches. Because the fight's now over. The flood has come to an end. Your creep is great. Go back to spreading your creep. Here, I'll do it in the order of priority. Most important to least important. Most important thing you need to do. Send 1 unit right now to go see if he has a fucking third base. Make a changeling or something. I don't know. You have no idea if he has a third or not still. You see one of his bases, which is great, but you need to go figure out if he has a third or not. Because this could also be a third. That's step 1. Because it really tells you if you're okay to make drones right now, or if you need to make roaches still. Step 2. Fix your bases. It would be nice if you already knew this, if you already knew he had a base or not. But I would say, even if he didn't have a third, you would, with your current roach count and your current creep spread, you would be okay to make 1 round of larva on this base. We're talking like you could get away with squeezing out like 10 drones for this base and then stop if he doesn't have a third. You could totally do that with your current army and your current creep. And then step 3 would be, after you do that, make sure you're not neglecting your injects. Make sure this is all flowing nonstop. And then do not have your army in a compromising position. Don't have it like in the middle of nowhere. Like this is already kind of getting close to the edge of, because you don't really see very much further away. If this guy was good, a good Protoss player, and he walked over here with Sentries and Immortals, he could literally fuck you over again. So make sure your army is in a good spot, and then spread your creep. Now let's see really quick. Does he have a third? He does not. So again, the correct way to play this out would be make like 10 drones, just to give yourself a little bit of an edge. Just a little bit of an edge. And just make roaches after that. Just roaches. You're spreading your creep. That's good. You are not scouting for a third, though. Your creep is really good. It's just that, just know that even though this is really good and it's really important, this is the least important task. Like, it's important, but there are things that are more important than creep spreading that take a lot less of your time. So how many drones did you make right here? You made like 20, I think? Okay, no, he backed up. You didn't make 20. I take it back. I'm watching your production. You made 5. You made another 4. You made another 3. And you made another 7. Okay, so this is going in the realm of you're making the exact same mistake you just made a second ago. You have no fucking idea if this guy's going for a follow-up all in, or if he's going to take a third now. This is I agree up to like 10. You made 12. 12 is like pushing it, but 12 is okay. And then you went to 19. You made 19 fucking drones, and this guy is still 2-basing you. You're just making your life so much harder to defend a timing. This game is not going to go on for very long for your opponent, but you're giving him a chance to kill you by trying to over-invest into your economy with little information. Like, you didn't even... Your overseer flew back to your base now. It didn't even check. You have to fucking... Like, there should be alarms going off in your head if you don't know if he has a third or not. That's the most... The fucking most important thing about StarCraft is the third base. Like, so many times when I'm streaming and I'm playing a game, and everyone's like, ViBE, you did little to no scouting this game. How do you know what he's doing? Like, shouldn't you be in his base with Overlord speed right now, or a Zergling? How do you know? Fucking third base. You can see his tech early, which tells you the game plan he has, and his level of economy, and how much he wants to ramp that shit up or not. It tells you how aggressive he's going to be. And you're making drones again? You're so fucking dead, dude. Oh my god, you are nuts. You saturated 4 bases. And this dude is still on 2 base. Alright, okay, he took a third. He actually took a third. So you're like, you never saw it. You never saw it. And if this guy was preparing for you know, a big fat 2-base follow-up all in again, like a second round of it, and that's it, you would be dead. 100% you would be dead. You are getting so fucking lucky when you make drones sometimes, and your opponent goes, you know what, actually, now I'll expand, because you don't know he's doing that or not. You're playing so blind. I'm not telling you have to scout his base every single second and reconfirm every tech he has. It's just the third base. Like, did he take it or did he not take it? Is he actually going to expand or not? But he took a third, and you saturated a fourth. This position, just to let you know, this position is actually good for you because you've maintained one base saturation above your opponent, but you are so lucky that he did not go for a follow-up all-in. I just want to make that really clear. This is risky as fuck play, what you did this game, and it's only because you didn't scout the third ever. You never tried to really scout the third. You scouted Overseer her once, and then you gave up. You're like, ah, fuck it. I don't want to do that anymore. It's so important.
Creep tumor under attack. Queen birth successful. Creep tumor under attack. Mineral field depleted. Creep tumor under
All right, creep is great. I really have to commend you on your creep. Your creep is above your level of skill. This is diamond level, by the way, for anyone who didn't hear earlier. This creep is above diamond level. I commend you on the creep spread. You're very active on it. I like that. It's just you need to, to work on other things we talked about as well. But right now, with how this is going, you're up against an army that is turning into it's an AoE death ball against your current army. He's going disruptors, and he's going for gateway units to buffer. You're going Roach Hydra. The only way you win a straight up fight against this, where you both just collide into each other, is by having really good micro. And if you're diamond level, you should literally, I know some people like to do it, but you should never do this. If you're a diamond level player, you should never say to yourself, my micro is how I want to win this game. I'm going to win this game off of sheer baller micro. Don't ever tell yourself that. That's a fool's game. That's like putting a big bet on a bet that has like a 10% chance to win. And you're like, it's foolproof. It's 100%. It's going to win. I know it. But it really only has like a 10% chance to win. Like you could win off of micro here, but don't try to force that to happen. It should be like a last resort. A better way to go about doing this game, if your opponent is this kind of a guy right here, I would love it if your army, and look, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I love that you already have, you're already in a little bit of that realm of that idea here. What's this for? It's for tech. You're gonna go to a hive, and you're gonna go to a spire. You're probably gonna go to broodlords because I've told you to do that before. I love that you're doing that. I love that that process is starting for you right now. And I love that I paused it right here because this is exactly when you should be doing it. This is a good reaction if you haven't already started it. But what you should be doing is you should maybe be taking like a little bit of your army. Let's go down and around. Maybe take a little bit of your army. Let's go up and around. We're talking like maybe 10 roaches. Just send it around. Do not try to take a big fight if you don't have to. Try and get rid of your shitty units. In this situation, if you couldn't help it, going roaches is terrible. Roaches are so bad against Stalker Disruptor. Because roaches have to clump up more because they have to close the distance further. Roaches have to they have lower range than a Hydra does. So they have to run in deeper, which is scarier for fighting against a disruptor. And also stalkers just beat the shit out of roaches too if your roaches aren't able to swarm them, and you're not able to swarm them because he has disruptors. So what you should be doing is you should be throwing away your roaches little by little and switching into Hydras for now, because Hydras can fight against this army way better. And then switching into inevitably like a Broodlord switch later on. That's ideally what you should be going for. Instead, if what you do, which I think you might do here, if you look for a fight and you're like, I'm gonna fucking fight you again, dude. Come on, come at me, bro. Come here. Then you're gonna die. Because let me talk about how you just thought about what just happened here. I'm gonna give you two ways to look at this again. This is gonna hopefully this will expand your mind on how to think about things. Your reaction to your opponent right now. You're allowing your opponent to dictate the game by this. Watch. Your army movement just started moving north. And why is that, you might wonder? For anyone who doesn't know StarCraft very well, or I guarantee I can tell you why he's doing it. It's because he doesn't want his expansion to die. He's like, all right, I'm going to get over here. I'm going to nice concave. I'm ready to take a fight, and I'm going to defend this expansion. Ideally, that makes sense. But you just got to know that your army sucks ass now compared to his because you're so roach heavy versus a disruptor heavy Protoss. Another way to take this situation to get the exact same result, the whole situation what you're trying to go for is, I'm going to protect my expansion. But another way to get the same result without forcing yourself to take a fight would be, I'm going to counterattack your base over here. Like 10 roaches on the bottom. I'm going to send 10 roaches on the top. What is the Protoss going to do? I fucking guarantee he's going to turn around and he's going to go defend that. Guaranteed. And then suddenly you protected your expansion without forcing a fight. And you also got an even better situation out of it because you got rid of your shitty supply of roaches now and made a better supply of like hydras now. Because roaches are so bad against disruptors. If you're still going roaches against some guy who has like 5 disruptors, you have better have the most insane micro ever because you're going to die. Which is exactly why I was saying you should not force the game in a situation where you're like, I have to micro like a god or I'm dead. Don't put yourself in situations like that. It's awful.
Mineral cluster.
Like, I want you guys just to watch this fight. If this fight happens, this is going to be a bloodbath for Zerg. It's going to be a lot of carnage. The way you micro against this is how you micro this, okay? Your mouse would have to... I'm going to do it slow. I can't micro these units, obviously, because they're fucking replay. But I'm going to do it slow so you guys would understand how this would have to go. A disruptor ball goes up like this, okay? It's coming forward. You would have to literally grab your units quickly like this. This green box like that, move down. Green box like this, move up. Green box like that, move up. Like you would have to literally split your units up where you send a chunk and you spread the 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 chunk. So that the chunk is what baits him, and then you slit the chunk in half so that his shot goes and it whiffs entirely. It's not fucking easy to micro that. It's pretty hard to do that, especially if you're doing it with a maxed fucking army against multiple disruptor shots at the same time. That is like some GM level shit right there. That's like top level GM shit right there. It's not fucking diamond level stuff. So you're putting the game in a situation where the game is so hard now. You're a guy who just went skiing for the second time in his life and you're going down a double black. This is not easy. For the Protoss, though, it's not very hard because all he's doing is going, shot, 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 shot. He's listening to the fucking Lil Jon song. The situation's way harder for Zerg. Difficulty level for Protoss, 3. Difficulty level for Zerg, 9 out of 10.
Mineral field exhausted. Swarm forces under attack. Evolution. Mineral field depleted.
Alright. So, the Protoss, you chased the Protoss, okay? This is what happened this fight. The Protoss has the mindset of, I want to make you bleed your army out. And he tried to kite you backwards as he killed your army. I would say he probably killed about 30 supply of your army. He killed like maybe like 7 or like 8 supply or 10 supply of your army. Like 4 or 5 units died till like they got tagged slightly by a disruptor as you ran away with all your army. And then you lost like another like 10 units when you tried to split and like that big chunk of shit died. So you lost a bit of supply. You lost a bit. Maybe like 24 to 30 supply. Somewhere in there. And then he decided he was going to back up and you ran some roaches down. I like that you ran roaches down, but you ran directly into his army. If we back it up, I want to look at it one more time. Watch it happen exactly. So you run down. This is it happening right now. You see him here. This is scary now. You should not commit to this. This is super scary. These roaches would be much better off running down and around like this. Like ninja style. Like fucking not super in the middle. And then it would be great if you did the same thing with some of the, like, maybe cut this roach count in half and send them on both sides half. So like 8 or 9 roaches or 10 roaches going down and around and 8 or 9 roaches or something going up and around. And then if you run into his army with one of your sides, just go like let's see if you look at it. I'm gonna see if you look at it.
Mineral cluster expended. Swarm forces.
All right, you didn't look at it. I'm not gonna harp on you for that. It is more important to macro, but if you did see it, you'd want to pull your units back. Just be like, okay, no, don't fuck that. Let's not go there. But what you just did right there, it looks like shit, but it's not wrong. You prioritized your macro, and suddenly your units got caught. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna. I'm literally not gonna get mad at you about that. That's okay, because you did the right priority. If you would have lost those fucking roaches though, staring at your hydras going like a click, a click, a click, a click, I would have been like, what the fuck are you doing? No. But you macroed. That takes priority. You're okay on that one. I don't give a shit that those roaches just died. You had the right idea though, so I like that at least. But this is scary now. You're committing your entire... Okay, you're backing up. I was gonna say, you're committing your whole Hydra army. This is gonna throw the game. But you are actually running right back into him again. And you're forcing yourself to take a fight. Once again. Which is gonna probably be a brutal mess. But again, everything is in StarCraft 2 has a ripple effect. And imagine if you had the idea. I feel like, Muffin Maestro, I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's hopefully going to give you some confidence. Because I know I'm shitting on you a lot right now. I do think you have the right mindset a lot of times. I think you just have the right mindset a little bit too late. Perfect example is earlier when I told you, kite, macro, kite, macro, kite, macro. You actually did it, but you did it when it was a little bit too late, and you were going to take some fucking damage then. Like, it's like, oh, well, the fight's kind of over now, but you still did it eventually. Right mindset, just you did it too late. You just had the mindset to counter with roaches right here, to buy yourself some time to get better tech. I like that you're doing this, but you did it too late. You did it after you took a shit fight. And you're like, oh, I'll do it now. You're doing it as like last resorts when you should be doing it right away. I feel like it's something you're gonna develop this mindset more the more you play StarCraft. But right now, you're definitely not manipulating the game in your favor. You're allowing your opponent to manipulate the game in their favor, and you're kind of just playing blind. You're like, I guess he's doing it. I guess I'll just, I don't know, do this. It kind of worked. I don't know, not really. Like, you're reacting to your opponent after you've already made a mistake, is what I'm trying to say. If you would just do this before you make the mistake, your games would look so much more clean. You have good mindset sometimes, and I'm trying to tell you when they are. But you've put yourself in a situation again right now where it's very hard for you because you have nothing really set up to go do anything. These roaches could go counter right now, but they're like about to die, and there's not many of them now. And you're going into Ling Hydra, which is okay against this. But you're kind of like letting the Protoss come towards you, and by always trying to be in his face. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But if you take this fight again, you're going to lose this game right now.
Mineral cluster. Creep tumor under attack. Creep tumor under mineral field depleted.
A flank is a good idea against this. It'll help a lot. But everything in this game up to this point has increased the difficulty of this game for you. Like, I really want to keep reiterating it because it's so important. Because a lot of the shit we're watching right now is kind of irrelevant. It literally is. Because this game wouldn't have gotten to this point had you played your early game played a lot better. Okay. There were some juicy ass hits in there. And just know that you would have won that game again right there if your micro was insane. If your micro was like top class level micro, you would have crushed him there. You had the right idea by flanking. If you have to take the fight, you had the right idea by flanking. But I think, again, what I'm trying to say here is you have the wrong idea by always trying to defend a fight, you're allowing your opponent to dictate how the game goes. You attempted one time to set up a counter to get him to get the fuck off your side of the map, and then it failed, and you never tried again. You're just not trying anymore. You're trying now to go into this I'm gonna defend everything mindset, which is you're allowing yourself to force a fight to happen with a shitty army. This army is better than yours, but again, at least I like the fact that you made a lot of Hydra, and you saw how much better this second fight went the second time around than the first. Like the first time around when he was just kiting you with roaches and shit, and you just got exploded on. That fight went terrible. This fight, when you had more Hydras and you actually tried to flank it, at least it went better for you, but it still wasn't a great idea. Your lead a second ago, look at your lead here. You're 30 supply ahead of him, and after the fight's over, you're 40 supply ahead of him. And after the fight's all said and done, you guys are like tied. That's not a good trade for Zerg. That's a bad trade for Zerg. You just took a 40 supply lead and turned it into a fucking 7 supply lead. And it's because you're forcing fights. You're not doing enough to get him the fuck away from you. But I still think this game is winnable because you're going Broodlords. I know Muffin Maestro. I am kind of I'm just gonna give you a disclaimer here. I am kind of treating you like a Masters player right now, by the way. With how we're talking about this, I'm not really treating you like a legit diamond level game right here. I'm giving you knowledge right now that I would not tell someone in Diamond League. In Diamond League, I would tell you, all right, good flank, nice job, macro. All right, do it again. Hell, you'll just as long as you macro, you'll probably win. But right now I'm going a little bit more intense with you to try and really give you some ideas on how to expand what you're doing. Because I think I honestly think it's above your skill level right now, what I'm telling you. But I think it's something you'll grow into because you seem very dedicated. So I think that'll help you more. Okay, so you're forcing a fight again. Again, as we said before, this is a mistake, especially since your Greater Spire is done right now, and you made 4 Corruptor. You could totally make more than that. But think about it like this, okay? Before this fight happens, what's happening? Right now. Right now, you saw him with a queen. There's 2 ways to do this. Number 1. And it goes with the same kind of concept we've already been talking about. Number 1 is you go, fuck that Protoss. I'm gonna get this. Fuck, I'm gonna get him. Get him. And you just pull your army and you're like, let's take a fight. You're once again fighting with an inferior army. Now he's got Colossus, and now you've gone into Ling Hydra, which I think Ling Hydra is fine. When you're going, you shouldn't be going Roaches anymore. Ling Hydra is like this, the replacement into Broodlord now, which I like. But you're now going to fight against a Colossus-based army. It's evolved even more for the Protoss with Ling Hydra. This is even worse. You know what's worse than fighting against Stalker Disruptor with Roaches? Fucking fighting Colossus Stalker Immortal Disruptor with Ling Hydra. Because what's going to happen is he's going to throw out a couple Disruptor balls on your Hydras, and all your Lings are going to die to Colossus, and then suddenly your army just disappears. What you should be doing is thinking to yourself, I have a Greater Spire pretty much done now. I need to buy myself some fucking time to make Broodlords, because you know what happens if you get Broodlords? This army suddenly just sucks. This army, he does have Blink. That's all he's got going for him against Broodlords, but otherwise it's all Robo. Robo sucks ass against Broodlords, and it's like more than half of his army supply. Look how much Robo this dude has. Or it is like literally half. He's got 12 supply of Disruptor. He's got 12 supply of Colossus. He's got 16 supply of Immortals. He's got 40 fucking supply of Robo. And he's got 44 supply of Gateway. It's like half his fucking army is Robo. It's terrible against Broodlords, but it's amazing against Ling Hydra. So again, what you should be doing is you should be checking, does he have a 4th base? Can I fuck over his new expansion? Let's see, does he? He has 5 bases. Imagine if you had a ling over here earlier, and you would have saw this, and maybe you send over like 20 lings this way and kill it before it even goes up. And suddenly he's like, oh, my probes are not able to mine really. I got to go defend that. Same thing with this base. You could easily deny this base right now. If you had, if there was like 15 lings running like this, and you just ran right here, and you just sniped the Nexus, it's a guaranteed cancel on that Nexus. And you know what he's going to do most likely? Turn around and defend that, unless you force a fight to happen. Which gives you, again, what that also does is it gives you time. And time is definitely on your side because, does he have a Stargate? He does. He's got one Stargate. But right now, there is a big-ass window of time where if you just suddenly made like 12 Broodlords, and he's got one Stargate, there's going to be a big problem for Protoss. But that time is not going to happen. You're not going to give yourself that window of time if you let a fight like this get forced. Like, that fight definitely didn't go good for you. And look how passive this guy's being. This guy could totally be... You could manipulate this guy with counterattacks all fucking day. And just imagine if the units that died here... Let's look at how much supply you lost. We'll kind of gauge it. We'll kind of guess. Because you are making units as shit dies as well, so it's hard to exactly get the number here. That's like 10 supply that just died. It's like probably like 10 more supply of lings that just died. I'd say roughly you lost maybe like 20, 24 supply right there in that fight. Protoss really didn't lose shit. But just imagine if you had 24 supply of lings running over here. And let's say all your lings die. It's 24 supply of lings, by the way, is 48 lings. Let's imagine if 48 lings get over here and you just wipe out this entire fucking probe line. And you kill the cannon, you kill all the buildings. And then his army comes... You not only make his army go back to his base, maybe he recalls. If he recalls, you could still kill the probes, but he'd probably save the Nexus. But let's say he doesn't recall, and he just walks back to his base. You'd kill the Nexus, all your lings would probably die eventually. Because you're committed to his side of the map. But you lose the same amount of supply you just lost in this fight over here. Oh, but instead you lost it over here. But you did damage to him at the same time. And then... It's just a better trade. It's actually a trade at that point. It's not just like a loss for you. So now you're making Broodlords. You have 4 being made, and you have 7 more Corruptors on the way. You are once again in a situation now because you have no way to control your opponent. You're just kind of crossing your fingers going, I hope I don't die right now. Hopefully. This guy is playing really cautious. You know why? Because he does probably play against some Zergs who are fucking Rambo and they're like, counterattack every fucking second. And he's probably like, okay, I really don't want to lose my base. I got a lead. Like, this Protoss is probably thinking, I have a lead right now. Don't throw it away. Make sure I don't get countered. Make sure I don't lose my expansions. Regroup myself. Make some new units. And get ready to do another attack. That's probably what he's thinking. Which is why he's so fucking passive. But look at where his army is. It's in the middle of the map. It's not actually like defending his bases properly. This has 1 cannon, 1 battery, 1 cannon, 1 battery. He is making new units here, but you get my point. This guy would be so susceptible to run-bys. And also, the more run-bys you do, the more he's going to play like this. And instead of you going, I hope I don't die right now, you can tell yourself, my Protoss opponent is super paranoid, and my chances of dying are a lot lower because he's always being like, okay, where's your fucking counter this time? I don't want to die to you. And it gives you time to, like, gives you breathing room to fucking switch your tech. Once you have enough Broodlords, I'd say 4 is not enough, but once you make these next 7 Corruptors into Broods, like, look, I hope you don't take this fight. If you made these next 7 Corruptors into Broodlords, and I would honestly say even cancel the range upgrade here. Pointless now at this point. You really don't need it. You really didn't need level 2 weapons either, to be honest. It slows down everything else for you. Level 3 melee, I agree with. This range weapon, I don't agree with. I would let's just say I could take over right now. If I was you right now, this is what I would do. I would grab my roaches, and I would literally go, get the fuck over there. Get across the map. I would then take my broodlords and move them all right here. I would not have them out in the front. I would have them right here. Because there's a chance I'm going to have to fucking evacuate a base and sack it. There's a chance. And I would just make broods on the high ground in my main. And if he commits, I would use this high ground to my advantage to where it's going to make him harder for my broodlords to die and attack his shit. Hopefully, he's going to take the bait of my roaches and go back and defend that with his whole army. But if he doesn't, I would still not force myself to take a fight until I had all these corruptors and broodlords. Which would, if I canceled this upgrade and start making broodlords now, I'd probably have all broodlords at like 1720 with your current mining going on. 1720, really, it's a realistic guess. Or like 1715 for you to have 11 broodlords. And once you had 11 broodlords, then I would make Ling, Hydra, whatever, and I would support my broods, and then that would be the first time in the game I would be like, let's take a fucking fight. Because you actually have a better army than he does. It's like now you're the one with rock and he's the one with scissors. There are hard counters in this game, and so far up to this point, you have been giving him the counter to you a lot. The only one I would say that wasn't like you gave him the... Like, look at it. This is so fucking forward. Same thing again. You just moved your entire army to the front of your base, and you're like, let's fucking make broodlords. You know what this means? You now have to fight here to guard these. Imagine... You know what this basically is? I'm going to give you guys... I want you guys to visualize an example here, okay? Imagine if a zombie apocalypse happened.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Imagine if there was a zombie apocalypse, and the zombie doesn't know any better. It's going to attack people because it's going to attack people. And let's say there was one guy who knew how to cure the entire human race. He's a scientist, and he fucking knows how to cure everyone. And you're like, well, shit. We got a lot of zombies out here, guys. We need to clear the way. We need to get to his lab, which is over there. So how are we going to do it? We're going to put the fucking scientist on the hood of the car so that all the zombies... And then we're going to ask him to scream. Fucking get them all. Scream. Get their attention. And we're going to drive through these fucking zombies. You have the key to win the game right now, but you're throwing it away. And what's going to happen if the scientist gets bit? Well, there goes the cure. What's going to happen if your forward broodlords force a fight right here? There's zero chance. This is what I'm trying to say is your broodlords right here. If they get spotted and get attacked, you're dead. There's no fucking way you hold this. And you're moving forward as well to force a fight. Let's watch.
Creep tumor under attack.
If he blinks, like he just did, you're dead. There was no reason to morph them there. And it's because you need to really break the habit of having the mindset of putting the scientist on the hood of your car and forcing a fight. You know what would be a way better solution to instead of being like, hey, scientist, get on the car, honking your horn, slapping him in the fucking face out of the window, scream, bitch. And he's like, stop, let me in. Instead of doing that, you know what would be a better idea? What if you actually like just you take that same car, and then you put a stick in the gas pedal, and then you also put another stick where the horn is that next to the fucking seat of the car, so it literally is going driving by itself, and you just aim it away from the lab, the scientist lab, and then all the zombies are like, oh god, what's over there? Let's go that way. And they run the opposite way, and then you guys are just like, well, zombies are gone. Let's just walk to the lab now, and now scientists can cure a human race. Okay, well, guys, that was fucking easy. No zombies are even here. We just literally walked here. That was really easy. It's the exact same thing. It's like, it's kind of a funny analogy, but it's literally the exact same thing. If you just fucking Ling counterattacked or did something to make him look somewhere else, you could get away with so much of the shit you're doing. But you keep allowing a fight to get forced when you're not ready for it, and then you die.
Mineral cluster expended. Swarm forces under attack. Swarm forces under attack.
And yeah, there's no recovering from this. He's dead. He's gonna leave the game in a few seconds. It's about to be over. This is curtains. There's no chance. Yeah, there you go. GG. Overall, you have again, you have a lot of qualities to talk about. The biggest one is your creep spread. I do like your creep. It's way above where you're currently at, I would say. But and you also, the other quality I think is something that's subtle but is there, is you have the right idea. You just don't ever do it right away. You always do the right idea when it's like your Hail Mary is what you're supposed to be doing, but you're treating it like a Hail Mary because you're instead overconfident in your army before that. You're oversimplifying the game too much by always looking for a fight. And the easiest way to explain it, that hopefully you'll take away from this and just remember, like fucking just like sear this into your brain. Don't ever take a fight if your opponent is currently in a better tech phase than you are. And if you're in that phase where you know your opponent has a better army than you currently, counterattack him. Not with your entire army. With some of it. Just send some shit over there. Send some shit over there. And try your best to make him... Like, if you can, do damage with it as well. That's fucking awesome. But at the very least, it buys you time to tech into something new that is going to deal better with what you're fighting against. Here's an example. This is an example, okay? Let me give you an example that everyone can kind of understand. And then I'm going to probably end this replay analysis. Every Zerg player out there, in a Zerg versus Zerg situation, I'm sure all of us have experienced fighting against a Ling Bane all-in player, okay? Everyone out there that's Zerg has been like, oh, I've been Ling Bane all-in before. It's happened. Yeah, I've died to a Ling Bane Ling all-in. Well, just imagine if you saw Banelings being morphed in the middle of the map, and then... He has lings, you have lings, and you're like, I just started making my baneling nest because it's late for whatever reason, and his is already making banelings on the field. So I'm super delayed here. This is scary. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna try and micro like a god and just like fall back to your base and be like, I'm gonna split all my lings and focus fire the banes and kill all of his lings? That's one way you could do it. It's possible. It's not impossible. Just like it's possible you could have won these fights with micro too. But it makes the game really hard. You have to win the game like a god at that point. You have to be just super good at micro. Or another way you could do it would be, all right, I'm going to run past, because right now you just started making some banes, and I don't really want to take the fight here because I know your banes are going to finish. How about I just run past your shit and I'd run into your base? Because there's literally I have probably a 5% chance of winning the game if I choose to defend this. Because my micro is not literally a pro gamer level. I'm going to run past your lings, and I'm going to run into your base, and I'm going to make you turn around and defend it. And if you don't turn around and defend it, well, I'm going to get into your base before you get into my base then, because you're still in the middle of the map making banelings, and I'm in your base now. I ran into your base. And suddenly I'm killing all your queens, all your drones, and this game now got real weird. At least you have a high, like, even if you don't win the game, counterattacking in a situation like that, at least your chances go up above, like, well, I'm probably going to die, but I'll still try to hold here, but I'm probably dead. You turn the game into something more. Your odds just went way up. It's not like a 100% chance to win, but your odds just increased a lot. Instead of 5% chance of winning, now you're probably like a 30% chance of winning. because you have like a mindset of I'm gonna distract my opponent and I'm gonna keep them busy while I'm not ready to deal with what they have. Most players, like I would say like 95% of players that are not in Master League already, anyone who's below Master League, if they get counterattacked by a big fucking Ling Ball, they will not go, well, I have Banes and you don't. So I'm going to split my army up into 2 sections and I'm going to micro both sides at the same time. And not only am I going to defend your Ling Flood, but I'm also going to kill your drones at the same time. No, that's not going to fucking happen. Pretty much everybody who's in Diamond League or below is going to go, oh, fuck, I have Banes. That's a lot of Lings. I could kill those Lings with Banes. I'm going to chase that. It's like fishing. Because the guy with Banes is feeling confident that his army's better than the other guy. And he knows that if he just chases that army and he forces a fight to happen, he's going to win. But, like, he's going to win that fight. But your goal should not be to force a fight as the other guy. It should be to delay to by the time the real fight gets forced, now you suddenly have Banes too. And stuff like that. And now you can actually have a serious chance of winning a fight with diamond level micro. You know what I mean? Like, you can lure your opponent around all day if you just have the mindset of, okay, his army's better than mine. Let's instead force counters rather than force fights. Because they'll chase you. They always will chase you. It's sometimes they won't, but it's rare. A really good player might not chase you. A really good player might split and go for both sides at once. But in general, most players will chase you. And that is honestly not a bad call, because if you're not insane at multitasking, if you're bad at multitasking, or if you're, I'm not going to say you're bad. If you're not really good at multitasking and you try to split your army, you're usually going to fail. Like, shit's just going to die and you're going to be like, well, that didn't go great. That went kind of bad. I ran into like 2 Banes and all my Lings died because I'm trying to micro 2 screens at the same time. It's hard. It's just hard. The more difficult you make something for yourself, the more likely you're going to fail at it. So, yeah. Hopefully, a lot of these things that we talked about make sense. And Muffin, shout out to you, man, for doing another replay analysis. I was pretty critical of you this time. I think this is like the 5th one we've done. But yeah, I just wanted to be critical of you because I wanted to get analysis. Thank you, Goat Eater. I just wanted to be pretty critical of you this time because I wanted you to be able to have something to really like expand your mindset on. And like improve, because I honestly think that if somebody who is like, I'm a Masters level Zerg, please coach me. This is about how I would coach somebody in Masters League. I would give you a lot of mindset coaching rather than macro coaching. I gave you a little bit here and there because you did make a couple of fuck ups, which kind of made the game really hard for you. We already went over it though. But yeah, your decision making is definitely, I would say, your biggest weakness from what I just saw this game. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching another replay analysis with me, ViBE. Hope you all learned something. And if you guys liked it, please don't hesitate to hit that like button on the video and go check out other ones that I've done as well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, everybody. Goodbye. Take it easy.